What is up, folks, and this is a video of something that needs to be addressed, or needs to be incited on. Is even incited a word? I don't even know, but we're going to talk about the tank stances, these lovely little things here. Defiance, Deliverance, Paladin, Shield Oath and Sword Oath. If you don't know the gospel, basically, the tank stances have been removed. There is a tank stance in the expansion. However, these tank stances aren't going to have damage or mitigation tied into them. The tank stances are purely going to be for threat. So for example, if I turn on my tank stance in the expansion, all of my moves now would have a threat modifier. I don't have any extra defense. I don't have any extra offense. Offense? God, that sounds stupid. Offense, and that's it. So no damage, no defense, just a threat modifier on everything. So why has Yoshida done this? Well, if you've been in the tank community for a while, you know that there's been two sides of the argument. There's been the defensive tank side and the kind of attack offensive tank side. Both of them don't like each other. I myself, someone that has pushed for tanking sensibly, but also leaning more towards being a damage tank, which I believe in this current system and the previous systems was the way to be a good tank, has often gotten comments saying that play DPS. You're a tank, you're not DPS. You're a no-life for telling people to push a crappy meta, and this has been reflected in the community as a whole. You know, people that sit in tank stance and they're used to other MMOs, say for example, if you know, WoW Classic is coming up, tanks in that, very defensive. In this system, tanks are expected to do a bit more damage, so you see tanks often doing 99% of the fight in Deliverance. And that's very overwhelming to a new tank when they have literally a tank stance, which makes them think, wait, I'm a tank. I'm meant to be in my damage stance, but I'm a tank. This is weird. If I take away like the 5 years of experience playing this game, it kind of makes sense. So there's been arguments, and there will be arguments forever on this. So Yoshida has simply stepped in, and the same could be said for the healing aspect, healing and healing damage. Yoshida has stepped in and has streamlined. And I'm going to say streamlined. He streamlined the tanking system. So now there is no tank stance debate. The only thing tank stance does is add threat. We're going to have scenarios like, for example, I looked at some of the tooltips and Shirk is still in the game. Which means once you tank swap, after the very first tank swap, both tanks can stay, or will most likely stay, I'm not going to confirm it, but will most likely stay in tank stance for the whole fight. There's no other reason to drop the tank stance if you have Shirk and if you circle Shirk each other. So that is one thing I am predicting will happen based on the tooltips that I've read and some stuff on the forums. So yeah, I'm all for this new system. It does remove some of the complexity with tanking, but tanking was fairly accessible anyway. The tank stance stuff did bring in the issue to newer players and arguments and a problem in the system, and Yoshida himself has been quoted many times saying that he wants Final Fantasy XIV to be a not so much a casual game, but something accessible, something you can take breaks from, something that you don't have to know life. And you can see it in the way the system is been streamlined for Shadowbringers. So we'll have an accessible raid tier, which is fairly difficult towards the end, but accessible for most hardcore groups and casual groups. Then you'll have Ultimate, accessible for hardcore groups in the first 1 month to 2 months, accessible for casual groups a year later, 6 months later. And we've seen how much content Ultimate can give to groups a year later getting solid clears. So I kind of like where the system is at and where the tank changes are going, but it does mean boss fights and dungeon fights have to do more damage. If healers are being removed as a damage dealer in terms of the meta, and if tanks no longer have the complexity issue to stance dancing, it's only natural that the boss fights should do a lot more damage. If they don't, we're going to see a very easy tier, which shouldn't be that easy. If we do, I think it will be fairly good and overall balanced in the way the meta and the content is being released. But that remains to be seen. So we shall see how that goes. I'm all for Ultimate. I think Ultimate is great content for the hardcore and casuals. I think the raid tier being accessible in the first few weeks for casuals is really good content. It just depends on what they do in the expansion, but yes, I do like the system of tank threat modifier and where the tanks are going. It makes me kind of look forward to enjoying the game more, because I did not like playing Paladin like this, for example. Forgive my UI, it's very messy. And also I'm recording through OBS with my YouTube microphone, so the audio might sound a little bit different, but I did a test run and it didn't sound too bad, so let me know how it sounds. So, but yeah, this sort of stuff, like, okay, I'm in tank stance, I use a GCD, I'm waiting, I use a GCD, I'm waiting. So I was looking for two things really. I was looking for tank stance to be off global, and if it wasn't going to be off global, I was looking for something that made it less, less kind of rigid. And the fact that request cat now can be instant is really good. So Paladin, I really want to level Paladin first, but I said I would do Gunbreaker, and I will be doing Gunbreaker. But Paladin will be second because I've always loved Paladin. I always did. It's a shame that I think we're going to lose Tempered Will because arm's length is becoming a thing, but it was always pretty cool to be on Sophia and stuff like that and using Tempered Will on the floors. So yes, I'm all for the new system. I'm all for streamlining of the tanks. I don't mind the complexity being reduced that much, but I understand if other people do. I think it's going to put a what's the word? I think it's going to put a pike in the argument. Is that even a word? Is that even a saying? It's going to put something in the argument. It's going to reduce the amount of arguments, because now new players can do fairly decent damage, not worrying about stance dancing. But it is what it is. Those are my preferences on it anyway. So, but yes, they do need to make dungeons and bosses hit harder to justify these changes. That will be my one criticism and one thing I hope to see. Other than that, guys, I'm really looking forward to Wednesday when the when the NDA, let's just say NDA, when the NDA gets lifted. It's going to be insane, so you're going to have lots of content to watch. I will look specifically at the tank stuff from every content creator, find the most informed one, and then I'll do a reaction video on it or a thoughts video on it. Other than that, I understand that you guys are going to be watching all that content and loving it, so this will probably be my last video for a few days until Tuesday, because on Tuesday they release the top 100 rewards, and I'll do a video on that. I want to try in a different format, more of a presentation format for the gear, but we'll see what happens. Either way, let me know what you guys think about the stance changes. Again, I'm for it. I like it being streamlined. I like it reducing the arguments. Bosses need to do more damage to justify this, but overall I like the direction they've gone with tank stances. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Take care, I'll see you in the next one. Oh, very quick thing. If you go onto my Twitter page, twitter.com/dynamictaru, there is a giveaway on there for free Fantasias for 3 people. So one Fantasia for one Fantasia for another. So 3 people have a chance to win one Fantasia. All you have to do is go onto my Twitter, go to the pinned status and retweet and follow me, and you'll be in the drawing for it. That will be done next weekend. But yeah, let me know how this audio went, because it's in a different format. Might be a format I do my future videos in. I'm just figuring out more to do with the After Effects and the rendering video pipeline, just to be a little bit more faster on some videos, because some of the videos do take quite a while to edit if it's a guide and whatnot. So these faster videos are quite nice to do. But yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.